Hello and good afternoon. Today I'm going to be going over a quick follow-along sequence for the spine. I find it to be more of a restorative sequence for spinal health. It's something that I might use maybe in my daily practice, or definitely like if I tweaked my back, if my back is feeling stiff or sore or anything like that, I'll definitely go into this sequence, or at least a lot of the exercise in the sequence. So you can follow along. As always, go at your own pace. Again, it's meant to be restorative, so do what you can do. If any movement causes you issues or pain, you do not have to do that movement. Play it by ear, make it your own. Other than that, I don't want to do too long of an intro, so I'll get into the sequence. You don't need any gear. The only thing that you do want is a space on the floor that you can spread out and extend yourself. This is a follow-along sequence, so you can pause whenever you need to, go at your own pace. I'm just going to go through as if I were doing it and explain it as I go. So this is for your back, so that's the focus. Spine, and what's the spine going to do? Generally, you got flexion, extension, and rotation in various segments of the spine, so that's what we're going to focus on. So, first thing, just lay down, looking to make sure that I'm in frame. Relax. Just kind of feel, try to find the tension in your body, feel where you're holding tension. I like to imagine if I'm just melting down into the floor, what parts of my body are holding tension and kind of not allowing themselves to fully release. But that's going to be a separate day, a separate session. So the first exercise, dig the heels into the floor. And what I'm going to do is just flex and extend the feet. I'm going to do this about 100 times. And the focus, it's not a foot exercise. The point is that I'm digging the heels into the floor. And as I do so, my whole body is moving back and forth. So it's just gently stretching me out, extending me, growing a little bit taller, a little bit bigger movement. The body is relaxed. So you should, again, it's not a flexion, it is a flexion extension of the feet, but the purpose is just to allow yourself to move back and forth. I'm going to do about 100 of these. Next exercise, we're going to cross the legs. This is just very simple, easy, gentle hip rotation. I'll do maybe about 20 to 25 of these. One leg is crossed over, so the heel is the pivot, and all I'm really doing is just moving my butt from side to side. I'm going to switch legs, do the same thing, so that bottom knee is slightly bent. Just allow easier rotation. So again, about 20 to 25. I'm throwing out numbers, but if an exercise feels good to you and you just want to do that for 10 minutes straight, by all means. This is a follow-along sequence, but the reality is I don't really want you to just follow. I want you to make it your own. So next, we're going to pull the heels a little bit closer to the butt. Same idea, just gentle rotation, back and forth. You can start small and then gradually increase the amplitude until your knee is touching the floor. You can go as fast or slow as you want to. Realistically, if you are doing this sequence because you're experiencing back pain, you would want to go slower than me. Just something to keep in mind. We can do also a little bit with the legs apart, and now we start to get into some hip internal external rotation. Nothing too crazy because that would turn it into a separate class, a separate sequence, but just a little bit. We can also do the same thing, picking the feet up in the air and pulling the knees up to kind of a 90-degree hip position. Same thing, you could consider this an ab exercise if you wanted to, but right now it's just spinal rotation. And then the next exercise is we're gonna let the legs go, relax them. So we're gonna twist and sweep like this. So one leg tucks underneath, the other leg sweeps. Shoot. 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 You can hold this stretch if you want to. You can grab the knee, look the other way, extend the opposite arm. Hold, reach. A few more. Very loose, very relaxed. Just let the legs sweep. Try to make it as smooth as possible, whatever you can do. And then a little bit of hamstring work, hamstring flexibility. So we're going to tuck one knee in and just extend it. You can do it with the bottom leg straight and leg bent. If you want to make it a little bit more challenging, you can grab the leg, hold. I'm not going to get too deep into this sequence because it could go a lot of different directions. So I'm just showing you some possibilities. We're going to go back into our sweep movement, but this time we're going to make an outside crescent. So if you're familiar with kicking-based martial arts, you're doing that same sweep, but instead of coming back around, you're going like that. Outside crescent kick, leading with that outer edge of the foot. And again, it's whatever, straight knees, bent knees, whatever your flexibility allows you to do. There's no wrong way to do this. Just do your best, do what you can. And then we're gonna grab the knees and we're gonna do just tuck and roll. So curl up into a ball, feel your back round, and then just roll. Maybe about 10 to 15 times. Relax again. And then one more exercise that we're going to do for the back before we change positions. Slow, gentle. You're going to pull your knees in as far as you can. Extend the legs. And then you're going to start to curl. So starting from the low back, you're going to curl, touch your feet to the floor, and then slowly roll out. So we're going to do a few of these. And you can do this in a number of different ways. Right now, whatever your flexibility allows for you to do, if you have trouble lifting your feet but keeping the arms and upper back down, you can also grab a couple weights in your hands. You can put your fingers underneath a doorway, whatever you need to get that leverage. But this is, again, especially if you go really slow, you can isolate. It's a good ab exercise too, but you can really isolate each vertebrae of the spine and then come back. And we're going to do one more exercise that's kind of an ab exercise, but it's focusing on the posterior tilt and the flexion extension. What we're going to do is arch the back and then round. So you could do maybe 30 to 50 of these. Again, you could think of this as an ab exercise because it's kind of like an extension and then a crunch. But the reality is I'm focusing right now more on that mid-lower spine articulation. So hopefully that's visible in the wide frame. So arch the back, I can put my hands under, flatten the back, I can't put my hands under, and then round, where I really feel a powerful abdominal contraction. So as many of those as you want to do, and then relax. So we're going to flip over onto the belly. Okay, so hopefully after the laying on the back sequence, you're starting to feel a little bit loose, a little bit of blood flow. We're going to flip over onto the belly, try to find the best angle for the frame. And so first thing we're going to do is just a nice abdominal stretch. I think they call it the Sphinx pose. So I'm lifting from the elbows, and then what I'm also doing is pulling forward with my arms. As I reach my head up and back, you can do some neck movement up and down, looking side to side. I can go up onto the arms, take this head off because it's fallen off. I can do a little bit of shoulder up and down, shoulder circles, and as I do this, I can hit different parts of the back, a little bit of upper body twist. I'm just exploring here, but basically if I put my hands in different positions and lift up and then play with different shoulder movements, it allows me to explore and hit different parts of the back. I'll try to give a couple different angles for that. If I want to do up onto the toes as well, like a push-up position, a little bit of stretch, and then round. I can do that. I can also do a little bit of lower back strength where I lift as high as I can with the arms. I gently release pressure with the arms, and as I do that, it tenses my back. But if I were to only do an arch up, I can't go that high. But here, I can still get that activation and then slowly lower down with as little weight in the hands as possible. So it's another really good movement for spinal erector strength and mobility and strength within a wider range of motion than what you probably are used to. And then a couple more. And then from there, just relax the back. We'll go into the kneeling. I think this is the child's pose in yoga, but I'm not too sure. So just kneel round the back, as round as possible. Again, I like to explore. I like to give different kind of twists, just to feel different parts of my back. And then here we can go into a good upper back stretch where I reach forward and I'm trying basically to touch the chest to the floor. And when I play with the distance, I can hit different parts of the upper back. I can go onto the fingertips as well for a little bit of added challenge. And then relax. Now what we're gonna do is put the arms out to your sides, 90 degrees to your body. And we're gonna do same exercise, 2 different ways. So the first one, we're gonna sweep the floor and you're gonna touch the foot to your hand. Notice what I'm doing with my opposite leg. I'm bending it in so that actually both feet are in contact with the floor the whole time. You can do, this is a good stretch as well, so I can grab that foot and just focus on some good hip extension with spinal rotation, getting some quads in there as well. Really good stretch. And then we can also do the same movement one other way. So I'm gonna lift, right? Lift as high as I can, and then rotate. So this way, instead of staying on the floor the whole time, I'm getting this good glute activation. Lift, and then reach. And then if you want to give yourself a coordination challenge, you try to touch your toe to a specific finger. So let's say I want to touch my big toe to my middle finger, close. Try to get that without looking. This is just a way that you can challenge yourself. As always, notice if there are any differences from side to side. No doubt that there will be. So just keep that in mind, because everybody is a little bit different. And we're gonna do one more variation here. So we're gonna go up into the dog, whatever you wanna call this pose. And we're gonna go into the side. It's not a side plank because I'm not lifting up. So I'm just letting it sink down so I get a stretch into the side. And I'll switch a couple times, back and forth. Play with a little bit of rotation, a little bit of rounding, arching, see if I can hit something different along that line. And then after that, we're gonna go to all fours. Okay, so we're on all fours. The first thing we're gonna do is the standard cat-camel exercise. So round maximally as hard as you can. And what I'm actually doing to get more round in my back is I push through the arms, but then I push this way. And when I push up, see, this is my normal round, but when I push up like that, I can get a little bit more. And then arch as far as you can, lift the head up, let the body sink down. So you can play with those. You can go slow if you want and try to isolate the low, mid, the upper back if you want to. Or you can just do the whole thing at once. I think, again, both are really useful. You can do this for very high reps. Another version of this, so if you want to add side bending, so you shorten one side and lengthen another. I don't know the best angle to show that, but I can also do side bending in this all fours position. I can also do some circles where it's side bending combined with the flexion extension. Also fantastic movement just to get the back loose, mobile. Can do some reaches as well. So these are really good for the upper back rotation. I'm just reaching my arm as far as I can. You'll see some personal trainers do stuff like this. Not one that I particularly use a lot, but still absolutely good exercise to incorporate reaching and spinal rotation. So I'm going to do a few of those and then just kind of shake it out and play with all the movements. And then we're going to do one more thing as we stand up. Then from here, you're going to slowly put the feet down, lift the hips as high as possible, let the upper body just hang. You can keep your hands on the floor, or you can cross your arms and float. And then just kind of swing your body from side to side. Again, the legs do not have to be straight. You want this movement to be as comfortable as possible. So just let everything hang as much as possible. A little bit of bounce. Sometimes I can get some cracks in my back if I really let myself release. And then we're going to do a couple of these where you stand up very slow, focusing on curling the spine so the head goes last. Starts with the low back, and then it continues through the mid back, through the upper back, and then stand up tall, reaching your top of the head up to the ceiling. We're going to do one more of those. Reach down, swing back and forth, relax, round as much as possible, and slowly extend upwards, focusing on the full spine articulation. And then stand up, shake it out. So I hope you enjoyed that. Just a quick follow along sequence. It might take you 10-15 minutes to do, maybe longer, and that's okay. It's not by any means an exhaustive list of spinal mobility exercises. It's just a sequence that I would do for myself, and hopefully you can learn from it. Hopefully you get a couple ideas that you can maybe share with your clients, with your students, or just for your own practice. So if you enjoyed this video, go ahead and give a like, share, subscribe. If you want to, you don't have to, but it helps me when I'm making these videos for this channel. If there's anything else that you'd like to see, let me know and I can do my best and try to create that video. Other than that, yeah, I hope you enjoyed and I'll see you next time.